Chapter 4. Tribal Society During the British Rule. A tribe is a group united by a common name, language, territory, and culture, in which the members take pride. A member of a tribe is known as tribal or Adivasi. The tribal communities form a substantial part of Indian population. They follow an intimate relationship with forest for their existence and subsistence. Nowadays, many tribal communities have merged with the mainstream of society, and they are indulged with many modern occupations. But it was not so during the British period. At that time, most of the British communities were fully dependent on the forest resources. The tribals led an isolated life. They did not want any outsider to interfere with their life. But the British wanted to acquire more land under the cultivation. So they forcefully grabbed forest land and forced the tribals to work as laborers. Some important tribal communities were the Mundas, Santhals, and Orams in the Chota Nagpur region, the Begas, Gonds, and Khons in central India, and the Khasis and Nagas in the northeast. Social condition of tribals. There was no caste-based social division in tribal communities, as it enlisted in the other social groups. There was more equality among them. Land was owned by the whole tribal. Economic condition of tribals. The tribals depended on the natural resources of the region they lived in. Some tribes settled down in an area permanently, while others had a nomadic lifestyle and moved from one place to another. Shifting cultivation. The tribals living in central India and the northeast generally practiced shifting cultivation. It is also called jhum cultivation or slash and burn cultivation. The tribals selected a patch of land and cleared it by cutting down the trees and burning them. Then they cultivated that land for some years. When the yield from the land decreased, they abandoned it and moved to a new area. Hunting and gathering. Most of the tribals lived by hunting and gathering forest produce. They collected fruit, roots, honey, and medicinal herbs from the forest. They either consumed these products themselves or sold them in the local market. Herding and rearing. Some tribal groups lived by herding and rearing animals. They were dependent on their herds of sheep or cattle. Most of the tribal people were nomad. Settled agriculture. With the passage of time, many tribal communities got settled at one place permanently. They began to cultivate crops on fields near their houses. Impact of British rule on tribal communities. The intrusion of British into the forest changed the social as well as economic conditions of the tribal communities. Landless tribals. The company forcefully grabbed the land of tribals. The landless tribals became wage laborers and were forced to grow cash crop. High revenue demand. Some groups of tribals were not deprived of their land. They were allowed to retain their land on the condition that they would pay revenue to the British. However, the revenue fixed was often very high. Settled agriculture. The company wanted a regular source of income. It found that pastoralists were difficult to monitor, as they neither had a permanent home nor a settled occupation. So it forced many tribals to become settled agriculturists and pay a fixed revenue to the company. Changes in forest laws. Many forest laws were changed by the company. One major change was that the company declared forest as state property. Restrictions were put on the collection of forest produce, on practicing shifting cultivation, on cutting trees, on hunting, and so on. Role of traders and money lenders. The deteriorating economic condition of the tribals became worse when they were further cheated by traders and money lenders. The traders charged very high prices for the goods they sold to the tribals. Also, the tribals often had to take short-term loans from money lenders, who charged a very high rate of interest from the illiterate tribals. Tribal revolt. The atrocities caused by the company officials resulted in many tribal revolts during the 19th century. The Coal Rebellion of 1831-32 and the Santhal Rebellion of 1855 were major rebellions. The Orans, under the leadership of Jatra Oran, also rebelled. The most widespread and long-lasting protest, however, was that of the Mundas. Munda Rebellion. One of the most powerful revolts of the late 19th century was the Munda Rebellion. Concentrated in the Chota Nagpur region, it was led by Birsa Munda.